Good afternoon and good evening to all of you. Thank you for coming to our virtual artist discussion with Crawford Mandumbwa, the dual exhibition with father, daughter, home, wherever the soul connects. It's been an honor to have this exhibition at Hearn Fine Art. We're located in Little Rock in the heart of the Dunbar community, right in Chester, and we invite you to come and see the exhibit today. We're going to hear primarily from Crawford, and I'd love to thank you for being here, Crawford. It's 11 o'clock at night where you are, so thank you for making the sacrifice. I'd like for Louise to introduce her father. So Louise Mandumo.
All right, thank you. Again, it's really lovely to get to be on this call with everybody. I hope that you're well, and maybe even more so appreciate you taking the time out of your evening or morning to be able to join us. I think, like Garbo said, it's an incredible privilege to be able to share space with my father, Crawford Mandumbwa, in this show for multiple reasons. I've gotten to know him throughout my life as an incredible artist and educator. And for the people that are getting to just now experience his work and his practice, it's incredibly exciting that you get to see the work of an artist that has evolved so much over the last several decades, having showed his work not only in Botswana and Zambia and South Africa, but also in Brazil and in India. And I hope that this conversation will be illuminating for people that are even familiar with his practice to understand better the different layers of the artist that he is. So without further ado, very excited to be able to hear what Crawford Mandumbwa has to say.
Thank you very much, Louise. Thank you, Ms. Hearn. Thank you, Hearn Fine Art, for putting this together. I just must appreciate as well everybody that's joining us from the different parts of the world. If our friends in New Zealand are in, we want to welcome you. The guys coming in from Zambia, thank you very much. The UK, US guys, just want to say thank you for making time to join us in this virtual artist talk. So the approach will be, I think I'll talk for maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then open up for some question and answers, so we can be able to interact and either respond to what I've spoken about or just something that you may wonder about my practice and my art. So that's how we'll proceed. So for those that do not know me, Crawford Mandumbwa is my name. If you're not from Africa, you might want to know that our African names, particularly the surnames, give us location of where we're coming from. So Mandumbwa is a Luvale name that locates me, situates me along the Zambia-Angolan border. In fact, I'm Luvale by tribe. We, the Luvales, we are few in number, but we are the ones that tamed the Zambezi. We are the ones that named the Zambezi River, which is the lifeblood of our people and other communities in Central and Southern Africa, as the river meanders on its way to the eastern coast of Africa. So that's where I come from. As for my art, my art, I owe it to, if I may just ask for the PowerPoint to be shared at this stage. My art practice, I owe it to my grandfather. He was a master craftsman. I'm trying to scroll. Just kindly help me. I need to move the slides. Thank you. Back to number 1. All right. Thank you. All right. So really, I owe my practice. I trace it back to my grandfather, who was a master craftsman. I saw him as really a Leonardo da Vinci in his own right, because he was an artist in many, many ways. He would weave baskets, he would craft, he was a blacksmith, he would craft knives and an axe, a hoe, spear here and there. Other times he would have commissions of constructing mud huts and having to thatch them. He did all sorts of work. He always had commissions with him. I also remember a few times when I would visit that he would take me along with him to go, whether it's to dig up roots or go peel barks of tender branches to just get fibers that he would use for different kinds of artifacts that he would have to make. Sometimes digging up, pulling down leaves that would have to be boiled to be able to extract dyes so he could be able to decorate the different things that he'll be doing. So I owe it to him. But I saw my earliest practice as an artist. I think I traced it back to about grade 4, grade 5. I started seeing my teachers asking me to come and draw the diagrams, the maps on the board. So that's where I trace it back from. And from then on, I went on to, of course, to study art formally. I did an associate's degree in graphic design, then another associate's degree in art education, and then also later got to study, do a bachelor's in visual multimedia. So I've just studied it formally. I'm an artist on this platform, but I'm also an educator. I teach at a high school, multicultural school, taught in a few places here and there. And my fine art practice really is as if it's governed, dictated by my formal occupation of being an educator. So it's cyclical. So I get to do my fine art when I'm on vacation. So when school holidays come around, then I can get to push my work so much more. I would say I've practiced art as a painter, as a fine artist for almost 25 years. And the first artwork I've got on the screen, I think talks about the kind of works that how my work has evolved. I started off working on paper, and in fact, my first artwork that I ever sold, I was in my first year, in art school. I sold a painting. It was a drawing of a lion, and since then I've drawn. If you can imagine being a graphic designer, being a fine artist, I've done anything between that, and so I've painted animals, I've painted landscapes with vibrant cerulean blue skies, or whether the warm skies that are synonymous with African sunsets. I've done those. I've painted wildlife and so on. So I've painted an assortment of subjects, different topics, different themes. Over time, this has evolved. Just requesting to scroll to the next slide. Over time, you can see I moved on from to start working with human figures. You can see the mud huts that I would draw. So I've done the human figures, which I love so much, and more lately I've gotten obsessed with just the face. It just speaks a volume. So I'm doing more faces than I've done, my art practice. Louise mentioned I've exhibited, in a couple of places: Botswana, Zambia, South Africa, Brazil, India, Taiwan, and I'll make a reference to the Taiwan exhibition a little bit later, but exhibiting in the US, I've had works presented there in informal spaces, presented by friends and well-wishers, but formally with an art institution. I've had work with Hearn Fine Art, one piece of work with Hearn Fine Art about 2 years ago. But this show is my first show, big show with Hearn Fine Art, and I'm grateful for the platform that it affords me. So apart from the images that I share on the screen, I want to say that creating art has not been a big problem. I think one of the biggest challenges I've had in my journey as an artist is that of finding my artistic voice, finding how I'll identify, I'll distinguish myself from other artists. And this takes me back to the visit in Taiwan. I was in a workshop where we're really being challenged as artists to say, what is your voice? How do you want to be known and identified as a creative? I did a lot of soul seeking as an artist after Taiwan, and I think I began to find things that properly resonate with who I am, because I felt I must do art that is in tune with my personality, art that speaks of my convictions, and so on. And if things were to start emerging, to start show how I started finding myself, it was, first of all, my first artworks. I used to sign them as Crawford. Over time, I realized some people thought I was a British artist if they just saw my name. And I got to realize I needed to be known as an African artist. So I started using my surname, Mandumbwa. And from signing my name, I've also found, as I've interacted with people in different places, particularly people from different cultural backgrounds, different countries, they've acted almost like a mirror to me, where as they speak to me, I hear how they see me, I see how or their expectations of me, and so on. And one thing I got to realize was that something that distinguishes us are our African fabrics. So more of my recent works actually have these beautiful Chitenge fabrics, very vibrant in color, so I start using them as collages in my work. And then there's, of course, most of the people around that I'm seeing, dark-skinned African people. So the biggest bottle of paint that I have in my arsenal of colors is really the burnt ambers that are, the African complexion. So that is a big part of my palette. Apart from that, I also wanted to find something that could also attest to who I am, to who we are as a people, where we're coming from. So some people have seen a new material that I use, which is Burlap. Others will refer to it as Haitian, a very coarse material. And it's a beautiful surface for me that I think to use, because it's not conventional. It's not your most common canvas that everyone will use, but it's a material that is used in Africa, in other parts of Africa. It's used for storage of grain. And so I find using that material, I think, helps to tell people, apart from the images that they see in the work, that even the surface they are looking at is coming in from this particular context that I'm coming from. So that's about signing my work, the fabrics, the skin tones, and then the surface on which I'm working. But more about the subjects that I work on. Most of my works are based on photographs. There are a few that are imaginative. Some will start from photographs and I adapt them a little bit. And sometimes people ask me, who's this person in the who's this person in the picture? I think I want you to know that it's, for me, it's not so much about who I'm painting, but more about what they symbolize. Why am I painting them? Why do they epitomize? What do they epitomize? So for me, that's most of what I try to work on. So even if I picked an image of you and I made a work out of it, if you saw it later, you might even say, "This is not exactly who I am," and for me, that's okay. I think it's just a starting point, and I build on from there. So those are my subjects. That's what you see in my work. There are a few that you might recognize. That one in the image on the screen right now, share that on the right-hand side. That's my daughter, Angelica. Apart from that, if I may move on to the next screen, I would love to speak to these two pieces, and then I'll open up to questions that people might have. The piece on the right is called Stepmom, and it comes with a loaded story. It's really relates to the topic of home, of identity, of family. So I call this stepmom. In Africa, maybe we would have even called it another mother. Sometimes we call ourselves, my brother from another mother, and so on. And when I was in junior high school, my first year of junior high school, I stayed very far away from school. And so much that trekking to school and back home, actually, I spent so much time on the road, was almost as much time as I spent in class. And that set me up for failure. But to give me a chance at schooling, my aunt, my father's sister, whom in my language who is called Tata Puebo. Tata Puebo means my father, it's like my female mother, my female father. Tata, father, Puebo is woman. So it's like my female father. That's how that's how I would refer to her in my mother tongue. But she opened a home for me to move in to do my high schooling. But then it's not as though there was, plenty of space. She already had my cousins there, a number of them, and a couple of other dependents, and I was added to that lot. I think if I count, I think we might have been maybe about seven to nine, maybe to even nine dependents in the home, children and dependents in the home. But she opened a home for me. But to get work done, she had a helper in the home, a lady who was from Malawi, another country. This lady took care of us. She cared for us so well that we actually referred to her as Ma, basically mom. Even if she was from another country, the way she loved us and interacted with us, she was as good as a mother. And I want to add that actually her children, up to now, we are still connected. We're almost like family. So it's stepmother. Even using the word stepmother for me is still a bit. The title is a bit too distant, really. But that's what that's what triggers this image that I did. The second piece I'd love to speak of is one great uncle, and this piece is inspired by my grand uncle that I got to visit in the village. But it's my village is very far away, and so I hadn't seen him in years. We got to visit him in 2011 with my wife, and as I interacted with him, I got to see how people saw him, in different ways. He was so warm, charming to me. Others spoke to him, under whispers. They saw him these different characters about him, and I just see that in every family there's someone who's sort of odd. Every family has this one personality that pulls off their antics when you least expect them. So that's it's sort of a hilarious, comical, title, but really fondly love this grand uncle of mine, who others see him slightly differently. Anyway, that's what I need to say at this so far. I think let me open up to any questions and comments that people would love to make, either about the work, what I've said, or any questions just about art, my practice, and so on. Thank you very much for listening. I hope I was not too monotonous for you. I spoke for almost 15 or is it 20 minutes? Over to you, Madam Moderator.
All right. So thank you so much for the presentation. We really tried to troubleshoot with the remote control. Hopefully you were able to get through all of your slides.
Yeah.
At this time, I'm going to welcome everyone from the audience to offer up your questions. You can either put them in the chat or you can put them or unmute and ask them yourself. My mother, do you have a question?
I do. My
Okay.
question is the title of this exhibition, Home, Wherever the Soul Connects. You and Louise had a very interesting time coming up with that title. Can you explain, what that title actually means?
So I think it's a reality. This is our reality as a family, where we've jostled with the issue of identity. To give you a picture, my grandfather came from Angola. My parents were born in Zambia, and my in-laws were born in Angola. My mother-in-law went and grew up in Congo, DRC, and then came and got married in Zambia. Celestine and I married, and a week's honeymoon later, we are in Botswana, and our children are born in Botswana. This is the only country they know. Their passports say they are Zambian, but the only country they really know is Botswana. So where is home? Along with this has been the challenge of language as well, which I'm proficient. We speak, Celestine, my wife, and I speak so many languages. Our children don't speak that many languages because they're in a different context than where we grew up from. So even more, I think when Louise visited in December, I mean, we've been having this conversation, but when she visited last December, talking about identity, I could sense that she was grappling with the issue of identity. And even ourselves, I've lived half my life now in Botswana, half my life in Zambia. Really, who am I? Am I Zambian? Am I Botswana? So it's this exhibition is about trying to answer those questions that we have ourselves. But really, those questions are not mine alone. Those questions, some of you might relate, some of you might share. I even did some project, some time back. I developed an application where you could enter your particulars, your parents' particulars, and so on. And this, I developed an algorithm that could tell you whether your claim to your particular nationality is really credible or not, based on whether you spoke your fluency in the language, your background, your place of birth, and your parents, whether they are the same. I came up with this. And really many people who went through that exhibition were excited to just say, yeah, I can relate to this. Really, very few of us can claim to be pure in our identity of where we belong. So we belong to many places. And so that's what inspires the work. And we talked about this issue and just, with Louise, we've stayed up late at night, sipping coffee, in the kitchen at 2 in the morning. We'll be talking about art and all these things. And so I must say, Ms. Hearn, your platform, this exhibition, has helped Louise and I realize a dream that we'd had. We've been envisaging, maybe we should do this exhibition. We were talking, and thank you that it's crystallized and it's taken the form that it has. Thank you very much.
Undoubtedly, Louise has influenced, and you have influenced Louise's work, and you have encouraged her to pursue art as a occupation or her lifelong journey, and that is very um, exciting for me to see a father support her daughter in that way, because when children say, I want to be an artist, there's always that, oh my goodness, so you encouraged it. Can you talk about that, and um, how proud you are of Louise? And I'm putting words in your mouth, but I know I'm really not.
Okay. I'll actually step back a bit. In my growing up as an artist, my high schooling and all, I never got that affirmation of, you're great. My dad said that to me one day. He said to me, I'm so impressed with what you're doing. I have a trip to make tomorrow, but I really like what you're doing. And I want to just pledge to you from today onwards, you have my support. What can I do for you today? I was so excited. And I said, I just need to go pick up boxes in town, recycle to make some artwork. We drove together on an endeavor just with my dad, just to go get these boxes with my dad on an art course. I was so touched. I came back, I did the stuff. The next day he was on that trip. Unfortunately, he died on that very trip. So it's like his second last day. That's when I got the affirmation from him. So I'm happy for Louise that we can be able to carry this on, father-daughter thing, supporting one another. She's really impressed. She's impressed me. Teaching her in class, I was very strict with her. I expected the very best because I'd seen great students over the years. So I always compared her to the very best. So I demanded a lot from her, and it's like she almost never made the mark, And when she really turned the corner, we were pleasantly blown away with my wife. I was even saying, Louise, are you sure you want to do art? She says, oh, no, I want to do art. I said, you know what, it's tough. But she says, I want to do it. And I want to say, Louise has really outshined what she's done at this age, 24. I think I'd only sold maybe three paintings. How much has she sold? Louise has, not only in volume, but also monetary terms. She's just 100-fold of what I did, at her age. So I'm super impressed with what she's doing, and even more, in the last art talk, I became very emotional. I just want to say that what she's doing now speaks tons for me. She's such a resilient young lady, considering what has happened and where she is. I mean, hats off to Louise. Sometimes my wife and I, where did this girl come from? We marvel. We thank God for Louise. Thank you.
All right. Well, I know I'm not the only person on this call, but I do have one last question. Pivoting back to your work, I noticed the choice of canvas or burlap. Can you talk about your practice in interchanging using those materials for your subjects?
So I think, given a choice, I would love to just go Burlap because it's a unique material, the texture is so captivating. People want to come and touch it. You know, it's your canvas is there. It's smooth, short of glossy, and it doesn't stop people in their tracks. But when you put burlap there, it's, you know, people stop and, you know, try to look at it again. Why? You know, so it causes conversation. So I would love to do, but then my art, the aesthetics of my works that I'm going with the chitenge fabrics. I find that the burlap is a bit too coarse for the collage to work. So the chitenge fabrics, I would love to restrict, you know, to the canvas pieces. But the the burlap surfaces for me, uh, I think they give me this energy even when I'm working. I work with a certain aggression. You know, I was asked some maybe 10 years ago, you know, like, what do you want to achieve? And I feel like if I can speak with the least number of strokes, that would be great. I'll be happy if I can put 3, 4 strokes and say, whoa, that's a face. Great. And for me, the burlap, you know, I feel like it presents me that opportunity of being able to work in this aggressive way that I could do with a few strokes and still be able to communicate what I want to communicate. Thank you.
Okay.
We welcome your questions. Please unmute and ask. I have a question. A lot of times the artists in America are informed by current events or they react to current events in their work. Um, a lot of your work is portrait work, but do you think you'll find yourself ever um, turning toward more political subject matter or you know, just experimenting more with subject matter?
Very good question. I've actually played with political themes. They're very emotive, and I think what makes me work the way I do. If you, I see my work as conversation starters. If we come down and try to talk about the piece of work, some of the pieces would you find they will unearth political undertones. So I could easily go that way. However, I also realize that I'm doing fine art for an audience that, you know, some of the work can be very, because it's political, can be graphic. Sometimes the emotion is just so much that you ask yourself, how do I, if someone got this work and they had it in their office, every day they're looking at this work, um, is this right? Some work, you know, in the home. Do you want to wake up every morning, waking up to this piece that's steering you, agitating you, and so on? So I've preferred to leave those heavy political engagements. I've preferred to leave them uh, in the conversation. Let's get the work out there, and then once we start talking about the work, we can talk about my convictions. I do have conviction. I mean, I just want to say, for example, the work that I, you know, when I say I sign my work in this way and so on. And there's just so much that has happened to us as a people, that we have been due to colonization. We have been deculturalized, and it's been so effective, so entrenched, such that we've even lost our identity as a people. Africans, particularly, we've lost our identity in many ways. Those on this platform, those that know me, personally, most of them would know me first name Crawford Mandumbwa. I have other names, but as we grew up in Africa, we sort of just want to use the first name. Mostly it's a Christian name, and it sounds Western, and if it's Western, it's educated. But really, that's why I really embrace my surname now. Really. So I was at a meeting where there was this project where they were doing literacy, in a village, and they got these little kids to just come and read out, what they've been doing in school, some village here near Francistown, and this kid, she was about 5 years old. She read something in English, and women were, ululating, and someone is saying, lekoa, 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 meaning, that's a white person speaking. Basically, you're educated. And that's how, speaking English has, in a sense, is perceived in Africa. You speak English, then you're educated. And I wish I could do this conversation in another language. I speak, apart from English, I speak 5 other languages. So you got me on this political trajectory. Let me not just go on and on. But thank you for asking. Yes, there are political undertones, some of the my work, but I leave it to the discussion, not putting it graphically in the artwork itself. Thank you.
We welcome your questions. Please unmute and ask or put them in the chat. See, Mr. Theory, Benny Theory, you're muted. I think he wants to talk. See. You should be able to.
Hello?
Yes, there you are.
Hello. Thank you. I just wanted to say it's so touching to hear Crawford speaking about his journey of art. It so happened that I went to the same high school with Crawford. He was a year ahead of me. We did art together. And then I'm lucky enough again, we met at the art school. He was again a year ahead of me. Lucky enough again, he inspired me. He went to Botswana, and lucky enough the other time, I had to attend his wedding, and he told me he's in Botswana. I got inspired, and then I came to Botswana. Same teaching art. So Crawford, your journey, you are very lucky and blessed to have a daughter who has taken after you. You are very lucky. Some of us, our daughters have refused to do with art. They say that's your choice. So Crawford, keep it up. Keep the fire burning. I'm very proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Benito, would you like to ask a question or say anything? Anyone else with a question, comment?
Yes, this is Benito Lubazibwa. I'm from Tanzania, but I'm here in the United States. First of all, I just want to say that it's amazing the relationship between you and your daughter. Most African fathers, there's no that kind of relationship. You don't find that kind of relationship between a father and a daughter. So this is a very unique relationship, and I really appreciate what you're doing. And my question is, I think you mentioned it's going to be on two parts. I think you mentioned in terms of the influence of Europeans, Christianity, and the way really you are able to affect our culture, our values, and who we are in Africa. And I just want to ask you, how do you use your God-given talent, art, really to decolonize the minds of Africans, especially the young Africans? And the second part is um, unity is very important. You mentioned you are from Zambia, Botswana, you have connection from DLRC, Democratic Republic of Congo. But all those countries, they are results of Europeans. In 1884, 85, when the Europeans they met in Berlin in the scramble of Africa, they divide us. But at the end of the day, we are one. We are one continent, motherland Africa. How do you use, and a good example, the president of Tanzania, Julius Nyerere, has done very well in Tanzania to unite more than 120 tribes in Tanzania to become one nation. How also do you use those, again, it's come back to the Europeans, how do you use art to unite us, to see like if you're from Zambia, Botswana, Tanzania, we are all one brother. And using your pictures, every time I see your art, I feel like you're painting my uncle, you're painting my aunt. It's like I don't see you in Botswana, I see anybody in Africa, I see my village, so just explain really how do you decolonize our mind and really understand who we are as African, and be proud because we are coming from greatness. Our art, our creativity is in a different level.
Mr. Benito, habari.
Mzuri sana.
Yeah. So for others, that's a Swahili. That's a Swahili greeting. So I might be Zambian, but the languages we learn some of these languages, really the borders. When I read about the Berlin Conference, I remember my heart burning when I read about, I'm just thinking, why did that conference happen? And these artificial borders imposed on us. My tribe is just along the border. We have relatives across the border in Angola. Yeah, the artificial, boundaries that are created. Our people mingled quite a lot. How do we use art to decolonize? I think the one thing that for me, and I think, when we're starting to learn art in art school, I think I can't help but I see it a lot, even my students. They start by drawing models from Hollywood, entry, they're coming in from primary, coming into high school, they are fixated on if I can draw, I'll use outdated models. Michael Jackson, they want to draw Michael Jordan, Justin Bieber. It's Hollywood. That's what's preoccupies their minds, and that influences our culture in different ways. And so for me, moving away from these models and picking our ordinary people, ordinary lives, and just putting them out there. Thank God there's technology today. We can, try and increase the visual culture today to flood it with images from Africa. So there isn't, the West has dominated resources, technology to flood, the media and so on. And so mine is one small contribution to add to the visual culture of our day, of our decade, of our dispensation, that, when people look at the work, they would say, this is from Africa, So that's my contribution to it. And when I say I'm painting ordinary people, I'm celebrating the lives of our people, the odds that which they rise up against. Whether Mr. Benito, as a business person, compared to doing business in Africa and doing business in the US, the resources, facilities that you have available at your disposal, and look at a business starting in Africa, they have to labor so much. And so for me, painting ordinary people is blowing their trumpet, celebrating what they do, the odds they rise up against, and just the resilience of the human spirit. And I must say, my work is vibrant. Okay, I work bold color, and color has emotion. And so when I work like that, I see many people, I see reactions from people when they look at my work. Many people say, the color, and you see some smirk, some smile on their face. And really, for me, that's it. I've scored it. I've celebrated Africa, who we are, ordinary as we might be. Whether it's an image of just women, walking from the well. It talks about the politics of not having clean water to easily just a tap that you just open, within your home. You have to walk, 100 meters, 200 meters, a kilometer to get clean water and so on. So I celebrate that. So it's celebration of the African people, ordinary people. Thank you very much, Mr. Benito. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, you did. Asante sana. And also, I just want to say thank you very much for telling Africa's story. In Africa, we say, until the lions have their own historians, history will always be told by the hunters.
By the
And you are
hunter,
the lion
yes.
who tell the stories. Thank you for telling Africa's stories.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? We welcome your questions. You can unmute yourself and ask, or you can put it in the chat. Righty. Well, Pamela Vance does have a comment. I love the fabrics in your artwork. She also has a question. What direction do you see your art going in the future? Thank you, Pamela.
Okay. I feel like my work is attaining maturity. I hope I'm not speaking prematurely. I'm a creative. I hope I'm not speaking prematurely. I feel like my work is attaining maturity because I remember trying to develop, a work, a style that was truly me. And I think I'm beginning to see it happen. And I hope I can lock it in. So the work does not evolve as much. But at the same time, I'm a creative. I can't stop my mind from thinking. So I hope I can just keep it with the fabrics, keep it with the Haitian. But here's something. Okay, here's something. I hope I can do this. To make use of where technology now is, that we have technology that's accessible, that's also quite friendly on the pocket. Here's what I would love to happen. It's okay. I'm hoping I can actually start getting the canvas and print the chitenge fabric on it, and then do the artwork on the canvas. The chitenge fabric is beautiful. It's just not as tough for the heavy materials that I apply onto it. So I've done some experiments and it's not worked. But the best, one of the things I might yet realize is that of getting to get the canvas, run it through a digital printer, get a chitenge basically on canvas, and then, so, you know, put that on a stretcher and then work on top of that and expose the chitenge, you know, here and there in different ways. I would love to do that. I've had that on my mind for the last 3 years. So I hope I'll be able to get to a point where I'll be able to get that one as well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I will close out with the final question. And my final question is actually for Garbo Hearn. How can I collect Crawford Mandumbwa's work? Where can I see this show that you all speak of, Home Wherever the Soul Connects?
Well, you know, it's at the gallery at 1001 Wright Avenue in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's also on our website, hearnfineart.com. But I have a special announcement, and I want to let Crawford share, because Crawford is coming to Arkansas, and he will be in the gallery the 17th and 18th. And I want Crawford to tell us about, are you excited about coming to Arkansas to see the exhibit?
Oh yeah, I'm over the moon to just be able to get there. Apart from having the, you know, having a show, I think there's so much energy, it's so enthralling to stand in the space and look around and to look at the work, to just, you know, take it in. So maybe Louise has experienced it. I haven't fully experienced it. So I want to breathe it in. So on the 17th, I'll be taking it in. I want to just savor it in, you know, just standing there, those pristine white walls with the colored artworks spotted around. I just want to take it in. So I'm looking for that. Then also being able to engage with yourself, other patrons in person, to, you know, to meet them. I'm looking forward to just getting to meet them and interact with them. So yes, coming to the United States, looking forward to it. And of course, I'll get to spend Christmas with my daughter. That's another perk.
Amazing. So Louise, please unmute and say hello and goodbye to us. And
Right. Hello and goodbye, everyone. I've really enjoyed getting to listen and take this in, and just very excited for the next few weeks, getting to have conversations around the work, and even more so to get to do walkthroughs with Dad here.
all right. Thank you all for being on this Zoom this afternoon, this evening, this night, wherever you are. Thank you for being here, and look forward to hearing from us as to the activities that will happen when Crawford comes to Arkansas. And we will definitely be engaging you via Zoom and in person. So look forward to hearing from us, and have a good night. Take care.
Bye.